Thanks for joining East Coast Sailing as I give the Sailor's Guide to Alderney. I'm Rob and welcome to East Coast Sailing. I'm halfway into the 600 nautical mile solo journey from my home port of Tollesbury and I finally reached the Channel Islands. After 2 failed previous attempts, I finally landed on Alderney.
I've done it! Yes!
On my second attempt, I finally managed to get onto one of the mooring buoys, so let's go through some navigation. Picking the right time to arrive in Alderney is crucial because some of the spring tides run at 6.8 knots. The perfect time to arrive would be 1 to 2 hours after high water, as this is when you get slack water. I arrived on the 12th of June at 4 PM, which is 5 hours after high water, and I got in with no problems. If you want to guarantee your arrival time at slack water, you can drop into Dialetti the night before, which is only 60 nautical miles away. Don't be tempted to add too many waypoints. You're going to be dealing with the fast tides, big waves and lots of rock formations. Give yourself as much room on the windward side, so if you have any engine problems you're going to buy yourself a little bit of time. I strongly advise when navigating around here to have a standalone chart plotter such as your phone, just in case your main electrics go down. I wouldn't take your sails down until you get into the harbour, because if you have any engine difficulties at least you can sail in. The harbour entrance at its widest point is 650 metres, but do not be tempted to go straight in the middle. There's a large rocky groin which creates dangerous overfalls, and there's rocks up to 4 metres under the surface. One of the viewers raised a really good point. In the last video they said, "It confuses me how you know the right of way into that harbour. It just looked like it was mined full of different coloured buoys." It's really simple. If you're in the main channel you pass port to port, and port has 4 letters and left has 4 letters. The orange buoys are for residents only, and the yellow buoys are visitors moorings. There's a couple of commercial buoys reserved for the lifeboat as well as commercial fishing vessels, so don't land on them. Let's take a closer look at the inner harbour. You can access the inner harbour an hour and a half either side of high water to get fuel or do any repairs, but just be mindful that you will be resting on the bottom against a stony rocky wall, so have good fenders. They have a well-stocked chandlery there called Main Brace. Now just remember, everything in Alderney is VAT free, so if you need anything expensive, make sure you ring ahead, let them know what you want and pay for it over the phone and collect it once you arrive. They only have red diesel, which is also duty free, so make sure you fill up your tanks and jerry cans. If you have a tender boat, you can just tie up onto the pontoon, but just leave a space for the water taxi. You can call the water taxi on channel 73, it's £3 per person each way, and they run from 8 in the morning till 10 PM at night. The harbour master can be reached on channel 74 and they're available 24 hours a day. Just make sure you hop up the steps to pay your dues. They had a very nice modern shower and toilet facility, as well as a laundrette, which took £4 per wash, and it can only take coins. Alderney water taxi, this is sailing vessel Alderney, requiring a taxi over.
In the bed you sound so musical, in the club you scream. God like gaze, you're so beautiful, but you're not for me.
So I'm just outside the RNLI shop. I've had this weird superstition that if I don't buy something from one of these shops every time I see one, that if I run into trouble, something will happen like a bad omen, so I have to go and buy a few trinkets as well as a little toy boat for my son Hugo. And boy was I glad I made that donation for what happened later on in the video. I hired an electric bike from the little garage which is located near Braye harbour. It was a £100 deposit and it only cost £25 for half a day. It's definitely the best way to get around the island, and I'd used all the charge by the time I handed the bike back. I've never used a pedal assisted bike, but this was a game changer. The left control had 3 speeds, slow, medium and fast is not for the faint hearted. I got up to speeds of 30 miles an hour. Well, I've hired this bike out, but I don't get very far because I have to keep stopping and taking pictures because this place is just incredible. I've never seen anywhere as rugged and as untouched as this place. All the locals seem really friendly. There doesn't seem to be any crime. Everyone says don't worry about locking something up because there's no crime in Alderney, which is lovely because I think you've got to work so hard to get here or pay a lot of money to go and get a flight somewhere. So it's really refreshing to come somewhere like this, and this is what it should be.
From the street, all this time, baby, our love was so deep. You can't sleep lately, but what about me? I'm sorry, darling. there's no room for us. I said, darling, can you see? There's no room for us. There's no room. Now our lives are tainted. Promises keep slipping. And I'm all.
This is absolute madness. I've never seen a beach like this in my life. The golden sand, and I am the only one standing. Not even a foot mark has been on it for a little while. And the crystal blue water is just behind me. I can't wait to get my scuba gear on. I'm going to go and try and catch some sea bass for dinner, so we have a little bit of fresh fish on the boat. But this place is truly unique. I've never been to anywhere so desolate and untouched as this. Oi oi, cheeky! Dropped my bike back at the garage and I made my way over to Braye where I had some much needed pampering booked in. I booked a session in with a drift sauna. This was definitely my favourite thing to do in Alderney by far. When the temperatures hit 80 degrees Celsius, the only way to cool off was by running in the crystal blue sea. You can hire the whole sauna for an hour for £60, or you can do a mix single bookings, which is £20 per hour. It was fascinating watching this seal catching his dinner as I was in the warmth of the sauna. This holiday was exactly what I needed, an escape from my busy life commuting to London. Being in Alderney was like being in a bubble. You're insulated from the news and politics, and I felt much happier. On the other hand, my son Hugo was getting weary. He was missing his father.
Are you a bit grumpy today?
I lost Daddy.
You lost Daddy? No, he's coming back.
I was missing my family, and the only companionship I had on the island was this seagull.
Oliver's that. Must be an Italian seagull.
Just got the engine on, charging the batteries on the boat, and I'm hiding under the spray hood. If I lift the camera up and you saw how windy it really was. It is miserable, wet and not very nice out there. So I've had my lovely sauna today. I'm just going to get a few things ready on the boat, and then I'm going to head over to go and grab a little bit of dinner. Let's talk about food, which is my favourite subject, and Cantina number 6 was by far the best restaurant. The best boozer was the Divers Inn, and we did go to a few other pubs, and it was like a western. It all went quiet and everyone left when we arrived. Jack's did a really good breakfast, and that was based in St Anne's, which is the town of Alderney. PJ's was the best for a quick bite, and that was based on Braye Harbour Wall. There was 2 main supermarkets on the island. You had Lecoq's, which was cheaper, bigger, it had more selection, and it also had a lot of products from Morrison's. Jean's store was one of my favourites. It was authentic, better quality, and it was twinned with Waitrose. You can't buy any alcohol from the supermarkets. You have to go to an off licence, or you can only go to a bar. The only off licence I saw was called Barnstormers, so make sure you stock up your boat before coming. And get off this boat because it's rolling around this anchorage. I dread to think what it would be like when you have a
southeasterly wind blowing straight down here. Apparently the swells get significant, so it's going to be an interesting one tonight. I might try and move moorings when I get a gap in the weather, because I've got this boat in front of me with lots of inflatable toys all tied behind it, and I dread to think if one of them slips off and starts hitting the boat. You would have thought it wouldn't have been so bad though, considering we've got such a high headland where the wind's blowing from. So I can only imagine if you were on the actual coast itself on the opposite side, how strong the winds must be today.
The very boat I was concerned about turned out to help me and save my life when I had a serious incident, and a friendship that lasts a lifetime. After spending a fortune on water taxis and seeing all the lads having fun on their ribs, I decided to buy one from Braye Marine. Tax free, of course. After inflating the rib and in my haste to take it out for a spin, I forgot that I had a steering lock on the outboard. I keep this outboard just as a backup for emergency use in case the engine ever breaks down. I managed to land onto a buoy and flag down my neighbours who came to rescue me. And this is how I became friends with the lads from outside your zone from up north, and in England they're called Northerners, and I am a Southerner from the south. Southerners believe that Northerners just drink gravy, they love karaoke, they strike conversations up with anyone, and a slap-up dinner is in the Toby Carvery. Northerners just think Southerners eat afternoon tea, they get irate when they miss a tube even though there's one 30 seconds behind. We're trained not to start conversations with strangers, and we're a little bit soft. Call the boys on channel 69.
Henry, sailing vessel of Alderney over.
We rounded up the firm to go and explore Alderney.
Wanna be it, wanna feel it, rage, power, weakest, falls, money, driven, major, fraud, breathless, body, diamond, bones. Wanna be it, wanna feel it.
We explored the abandoned German war tunnels that was dug by slave labour. This tunnel was called HO6 and it had a railroad running through the middle of it to deliver munitions. It was the first time I'd been spearfishing, as you can probably tell, and with my second shot I managed to land a wrasse. I left the clutch a little bit loose which bird nested the reel, but I managed to pull in the wrasse with no problems.
Let's go! Wrasse for dinner. The sniper.
The assassin.
The assassin.
We caught 2 wrasse and 2 spider crabs and we cooked them up on the beach, which is a memory I'll never forget. I lived up to being a soft southerner because I wouldn't pick up a spider crab without one of my gloves. The only event I didn't get to do on the island was go shooting, which is only on Sundays, and you can shoot pistols, rifles and clay pigeon shooting. I saw some of the most beautiful sunsets and the clearest skies because there was no light pollution. Thanks Nick for sponsoring today's beer, and if you want to sponsor a next episode, just go to Buy Me a Coffee, link in the description. I was a little unlucky with my timing coming to Alderney. I'd missed a 3-week heat wave. When I arrived I had a nice day on the day I arrived, followed by 45-mile-an-hour winds and lots of rain. Finally some good weather after the storm, and what could possibly go wrong? I had a knock on the boat at about 5:30 in the morning, and it turns out the new tender I just bought had washed up on the rocks.
Has to be the worst night's sleep I've ever had. I think I had about 1 hour and I left my radio on because I had the water taxi yesterday and the DSC alarm went off. I wasn't sure what was going on. I thought there was a hidden bilge pump alarm or something, so I was checking the boat frantically thinking something had gone wrong, and then I realised it was the radio, so I turned that off and didn't really get back to sleep. The anchorage was rolling so much and the winds were just phenomenal last night. The boat was juddering Everything's died down a little bit now, but I feel absolutely wrecked, so I probably need to try and get a little bit of sleep now things have settled.
Currently on day 8 of the sailing adventure and still in Alderney, so I've done 4 full days here, which I think is enough to discover the island, and I'm ready to move on. So you probably saw in some of the other footage where I had really big waves crashing into the seawall and the anchorage has been very rolly. It's probably been only in the last couple of days I've had a good night's sleep and the boat isn't moving around as much. So I've got this thing called harbour rot, where you almost scare yourself, where you've had some real big sailing days and the weather hasn't been particularly easy on you, and then you don't want to leave harbour, but I've got to break that, knock the dust off the sails and kind of get out there. So I'm going to be going through the Swinge today, which is a notorious stretch of water, and I'm leaving when the water's slack, so I shouldn't have any more than 3 or 4 knots of tide to worry about. So I'll let you know how I get on.
I was genuinely sad to leave Alderney as well as the friends I'd made, but they gave me the best send-off.
That's Jamie Hearties.
Yes! East Coast sailing, let's go! Yes! See you later, mate.
Thanks for watching East Coast Sailing, and if you've enjoyed today's episode, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to get the latest episodes. Come and join us next week as I navigate the turbulent waters of the Swinge, as well as exploring St Peter's Port and going on to Sark.